Guys, Sean Phillips here at brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday Sean video today. Taking to go out today, see what things came out, see what things are on sale today. I know today though, new release-wise, the big thing that comes out is Spider-Man Far From Home. With that one though, I know there's a number of different retail exclusive editions of that one. Like Target has an exclusive one that comes with a book. I think Walmart has one that I believe comes with an action figure of Spider-Man. And then Best Buy has an exclusive Steelbook of that one. Also today though, there's a whole bunch of other things coming out today 4K-wise. There's a bunch of stuff like The Shining on 4K, as well as Gremlins on 4K. There's a couple Marvel titles on 4K, like I think Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think what was the other one? Ant-Man, I believe, and Doctor Strange. I think those are getting 4Ks, as well as exclusive Steelbooks at Best Buy, and I think there's going to be a Gremlins Steelbook, a Best Buy exclusive of Steelbook of that one as well today. Also though, since it's the first Tuesday of the month, Walmart changes out the actual section and gets in a whole bunch of new like indie comedies, indie horror films, all that kind of stuff. Different stuff is in the actual section, so hopefully though I don't have to go to a bunch of different Walmarts to find all that stuff. But also though, at the end of this video is going to be a whole bunch of brand new DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K reviews for some things I received to review and talk about for you guys. Some really, really cool stuff, so definitely stay tuned for those. And as always too, let me know, in the comments below what you guys thought of the titles that I reviewed. If you guys have seen them, what you guys thought of them. Also, if you guys plan on picking any of them up. But anyway though, guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Target we go. But right here in the front of the store though, I see Spider-Man Far From Home here on 4K, and that one's $29.99 for that one. And the 4K one has a different cover than the standard Blu-ray. The standard Blu-ray here is $24.99 for that one. Then it's $19.99 for the DVD. This, I believe, is the limited edition one, the Target exclusive one of that one. I'll have to look over in the actual section to see if they have any more of them, because I don't see any standees or anything like that for that here. But I might end up heading to another Target as well, just to see if that one has any of these limited edition ones, if they don't have any of them, in the actual section. We'll go over there now and see. Now over here though, in the actual section though, they do have the exclusive release here for $26.96. It's the same edition as the standard Blu-ray digital combo, but includes Peter Parker's travel journal in this one. It's just a little booklet that comes, it's like a separate booklet that's not connected or anything, so it's not a digibook release for that one. But like I said, that one's $26.96. Also, they have Gremlins on 4K here, and that one's $24.99. I'm going to be talking about that one at the end of this video, as well as The Shining on 4K, and that one's $24.99 as well. They also have down here on the bottom the Death and Return of Superman. That one's $34.99. Includes this action figure with that one. It's another one I'll be talking about at the end of this video. Also though, around the side, one of the other things that came out today was this show Genlock, the complete first season for $19.99, as well as Chernobyl. That's $29.99 for that one, as well as Doom Patrol. But they only had the DVD of that one, but I really like that show. But there is a Blu-ray as well, but I didn't see that here. Also though, these ones came out, I think it was like last week. I didn't get to show them in stores though. These are the brand new slipcover standard solo releases of all the Star Wars films, and they're all $22.99. They have really cool new artwork on these ones. They also include digital copies of all the films as well, as I don't think some of these releases in the past included digital copies. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think so. But like I said, these are definitely really cool artwork on these ones here. Into Walmart we go. Well, I peeked over in the section. I'm going to have to head over to another Walmart, though, because they didn't change out any of the stuff over there. But they do have one of the exclusives left here from Spider-Man Far From Home. Only one more of these ones. And it's $27.99 for that one. I believe that's the Walmart exclusive one right there. I don't see any of the 4Ks out here as well for that one. But this one, like I said, includes a Spider-Man figure inside of this one, exclusive figure inside of this one. And it is for the Blu-ray version. I don't think they have an exclusive with the 4K of that one. Other than that, over here though, there are some empty spots, like I was saying. They do have Chernobyl here for $34.99 here on Blu-ray, and then $29.99 on DVD. I've heard good things about that one. That's one I definitely need to see. Other than that though, I think this one came out this week, maybe it's like a new edition here of this, the Doctor Who the complete 11th season. I feel like I've seen that before, but I don't feel like I remember seeing the one that comes with this figure in here, this collectible figure. That one's $29.99 for that one. Other than that, though, they do have the Batman, the DC Universe film here, the Death and Return of Superman. I'm going to be talking about this one at the end of this video, and that one is $39.99 for that.
And then other than that, let's see if there's anything over here on this side. Seems like all the same stuff over here. I did see some 4Ks though. Like this is one of the other 4Ks I forgot that released today was Zombieland. And that one's only $19.99 for that one. This is the you know, the brand new edition of that one too. It has a couple, I think it has some new features on this one as well. But like I was saying, yeah, Doctor Strange came out today, Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy for the first time on 4K. All these ones are $29.96. I don't know if the Frozen released today on 4K. I'm not sure on that though. Other than that though, like I was saying though, the section over here didn't all get changed out. It's all the same stuff over here as last month. It doesn't look like there's anything new here. Like I said, we'll have to go to another location to see. But they do have a Doom Patrol over here, and that one's $19.99. And then this Gen Lock, the complete first season here, $19.96 on Blu-ray, and then $14.96 here on DVD. But other than that, that looks like all the main things over here. But we'll head over to another Walmart though, and you know, fingers crossed that one changed out this whole section. Into the second Walmart we go. And over here though in the front of the store, in this location, they do have Spider-Man Far From Home on 4K, and that one's $27.96 for that one. I really like this movie a lot though. I thought this was a great sequel to the film. Other than that though, it seems like all this is the same that I saw in the other location, but I did see though they changed out the actual section over here, and there seems to be a bunch of new stuff and a bunch of horror stuff. But let's see, up here though, I think some of these ones here are new, like this one here, The Art of Falling in Love. This one, Daisy Winters. I'm pretty sure all these ones up here are new, and these ones are all, I think, all $9.96 except for Jane and Emma, that one. But other than that though, this Ben Kingsley movie I believe came out today, Spiders in the Web. I don't know anything about this. If you guys have seen this one, let me know. Same with this one here, and that one's $12.96. Same with this one here, Driven, and it has like a DeLorean on the front. It's another one I don't know anything about. I don't know if there's a Blu-ray of this one or not. Other than that though, I see this is the new Jarhead film. This one released today, Jarhead Law of War, and that one's $14.96 for that. And then they have the Jarhead 4 movie collection here on DVD, which has all 4 of the films together, and that one's $19.96 for that. But when it comes to these ones, I've only ever seen the first movie. The first movie I really liked. Other than that, though, this one released today. This is one that took a long time to come out, but finally has gotten a release, and it's Anna and the Apocalypse. This is one I really look forward to watching. I actually got a copy of this one today to review, so I should have a review of that one up next Tuesday. But this, like I said, this one I definitely look forward to checking out. But other than that, though, Doom Annihilation came out today, and I have a review of that one as well. That one's $14.96 for that one. Let's see other new ones over here. Itsy Bitsy, that one released here. And they have an exclusive thing here which includes a digital copy with their DVD one. This is another one I'll have a review of at the end, and that one's $9.96. I have a review of this one called Karma at the end of this video as well. And then these two ones here look pretty interesting. This one here, and this one's $9.96. A lot of them are loose in the case. I have to find one that isn't loose, because this one looked interesting, but it's called 13 Investigation here. And it sounded kind of interesting here. It has Meg Foster in this movie, but this one looked kind of cool. This one's $9.96. Same with this other one here for $9.96, which is I think it says aired on Sci-Fi, called Killer High. The Reunion Will Be Your Last. It's another one that looks kind of interesting. I might get this one as well. But other than that, though, over here there are 2 empty spots here. So I don't know. Oh yeah, Art of the Dead, it's released. So it was one I will have a review of that one soon. Waiting on a copy of that one, and then I can't tell what that one is. But Art of the Dead looked really interesting as well. But other than that, though, let's see if there's anything else different over here. They have Doom Patrol here on DVD, and that's $19.96, and then Gen Lock here as well. But other than that, that seems to be all the same stuff that I've seen the past couple weeks here. Into Best Buy we go.
Here in the front of the store, though, I didn't see any of the exclusive Spider-Man Far From Home, so I'll have to check in the actual section to see if they have any. They did have this double pack here, which has both films here, both Spider-Man films for $29.99. Also, though, one of the other 4K releases today was Pan's Labyrinth. That's another one I'll be talking about at the end. That one's $24.99. And they did have the really cool Best Buy exclusive Gremlins 4K Steelbook here. That one's $29.99 for that one, and it's $24.99 for Gremlins on 4K. And there was a Frozen
Gremlins Steelbook, which came out today, and that one is $34.99, and that is the 4K edition, because that one, yeah, that one did release today. And also, though, Guardians of the Galaxy here, there's their exclusive, Best Buy exclusive Steelbook for that, and that one is $34.99. And then they have the Doctor Strange exclusive 4K Steelbook for $34.99 as well. And then they also had the Ant-Man Steelbook here, and that one is $34.99 for that one here. So like I said, today was definitely a big Steelbook release day. But they also had, too, the Shining on 4K Steelbook, which is another one, which is like the Hedge Maze. So really cool Steelbook here for that.
But over here, though, in the actual section, though, they do have some of these Spider-Man exclusive Steelbooks here. They didn't have any of them in the front, but that one's $32.99 for that one. This is a really, really cool image on this Steelbook. Like I said, I really love this movie. This is a really, really great sequel. And like I said, this one's $32.99 for that one. It's a 4K Steelbook. Also today, though, Adam's Family Values released today for the first time on Blu-ray. That one's on $9.99 for that one. I'm going to be talking about this at the end of this video because I have one that came out as well. This is like a double pack. This includes the first film as well as the second one. But like I said, though, this is, like, in my opinion, like one of those sequels where it was just as good as the original one. They do have Doom Annihilation here for $14.99 on Blu-ray, and Doom Patrol here for $19.99. This is a show I really liked. I just started watching this one. I talked about this last week, I believe it was last Tuesday. I think I talked about this, but really, really cool show. Definitely would recommend you guys check that one out. Other than that, over here, though, let's see if there's anything else different. They have Jarhead, The Law of Return here for $14.99 on Blu-ray, as well as Itsy Bitsy. They have that one here for $16.99. But other than that, though, that seems to be all the different things here I see.
So anyway, though, guys, that's all for my DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today. Like I always say, if you guys enjoy these shopping videos, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Also, leave me comments below letting me know, what you guys picked up on DVD, Blu-ray, or 4K. If you guys picked up anything today. Also, let me know as well, what you guys thought of all the DVDs, Blu-rays, and 4Ks that I reviewed at the end of this video. If you guys have seen any of them, what you thought of them. Also, if you guys plan on picking any of them up. Also, though, for those wondering, I didn't get to see any movies this past weekend. That's why I didn't have a little review of anything I saw this past weekend. But if you guys got to see anything this past weekend, though, in theaters, though, let me know in the comments below as well, what you guys got to check out. But anyway, though, guys, like I say, thanks so much for watching and subscribing. Now stay tuned for the brand new reviews. And the first one I got here is from Arrow Video. This is one I just want you guys know is available, and this is a nunsploitation film here called Killer Nun from 1978. This one has on here, too, the Italian language as well as the English language track on this one. If you guys don't know nunsploitation films, those are basically, they were made like in the 60s, and I think they made some of them in the 80s as well, like through the 80s. A lot of the known ones, though, were in the 70s, and they're basically, though, nuns doing bad things, like nuns are murderers, or nuns are doing things that nuns do not normally do, or things you're not supposed to do as a nun. And that's essentially what they are. And they go like crazy with stuff that happens in them. This one, though, is dealing with this woman who's the head nun at this hospital, and she's doing like bad stuff to the patients, and she's kind of like cracking up and getting worse and worse as this movie goes along. It's actually a really cool movie. I saw this one years and years back. Well, I think when it first released on DVD, I believe that was when I first saw it. And this on here, though, it has a brand new 2K restoration from the original 35mm camera negative on this one. Looks great here. Great new transfer on this one. Also has a brand new, interview on here with the director, as well as a brand new interview on here with the editor. Has a comedy track on here with Italian genre film connoisseurs, Adrian J. Smith and David Flint. Also inside of here as well, there's a booklet which has some stuff about the movie, some stills, some pictures, and that kind of stuff. Also, it has in here too a one thing that's pretty cool is it shows you like a chart, like a listing of the nunsploitation films that were all from 1962 to 1968, and kind of tells you like the money that they made and that kind of stuff as well. But if you guys are fans of nunsploitation films, like I said, want to let you guys know that this one was available from Arrow Video. The next one here is from Lionsgate. This is also an A24 title. This is one I would say is probably one of my top, at least in top 10 films, I would say for sure this year so far. And this is Midsommar. This is from the director who made Hereditary as well, which I really like that one as well. This movie has a real vibe of The Wicker Man. If you guys have seen the original Wicker Man, not the Nicolas Cage one, but the original one, this has a very similar kind of feel to this, about this kind of community that the characters go to. But this is basically, though, this stars Florence Pugh, who is also recently in Fighting with My Family, which I really love that movie as well. She did a great performance in that one. Did a really great job in this one. But this is basically, though, something ends up happening in the beginning that's really terrible to her family. And her boyfriend is just getting ready to break up with her because like they're not really getting along and everything, and he's basically planning on breaking up with her and then going on this big trip with his friends to Sweden, because their one friend is from Sweden, and like he invited them all back for these big festivities that are going to be happening there in his small you know, kind of community village that he's from. And he's like, oh yeah, it's very different, it's going to be a little weird and you're going to think it's really different and strange, and you know, he invites them all to go, but the boyfriend's going to kind of go with his friends, and he kind of plans on this, but because of what happens at the very beginning of this movie to Florence Pugh's you know, family, he can't break up with her, and he just can't go through with it, and he says, oh, you want to come along, and because he was kind of acting like he wasn't going to go anyway, but he's like, well, maybe you could come and kind of get your mind off of things, and you know, for a little bit, and have this break out there. And of course she goes along, and she's in a terrible state because of what has happened, and she gets to this community. And you kind of right off the bat realize that there's something really off about these people out there. They're acting really weird. They're acting really peculiar, and they're like kind of like it's kind of like almost like too. Why did they invite them there? Why did they invite these people there? It makes no sense the way it went from their perspective of kind of looking into the whole thing, and it's kind of like, well, what are we doing here, and why are you acting like this towards us? And it's basically though just kind of like the build up, this slow burn build up to the strangeness that is going on at this community, and you find out really early on that it was a terrible, you know, decision to go there, and that's really all you can say. But you know, also, Will Poulter is in this movie as well. I really liked his character in this movie. Everyone did a really good job in this movie. This also deals, too, with a whole lot of stuff going on with their relationship, also with the characters who are working on this school project as well, like a dissertation kind of project, and all these kind of things that are going on as well throughout this. But I really like this one. If you guys watch this, let me know as well what you guys thought. Has a making of on this one as well, but highly recommend you guys check this one out. The next one here is from Universal, and this is Doom Annihilation here, which is the new Doom film. I actually don't know if I ever watched the original Doom film that starred Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson from years back. I don't know if I ever saw it or not. I remember the video game though, and that they always kind of had a similar kind of vibe a little bit to Resident Evil, and this movie has a similar slight vibe to Resident Evil with some kind of Silent Hill kind of vibes as well, kind of a little bit. But this is basically though about this like this spacecraft of the people who are going to be going to this kind of like this base where you see in the beginning of this movie they're doing some kind of experiments when they're kind of teleporting things, and they have this kind of portal, and they open up this portal, and someone kind of went through it and came back, and they thought at first they seemed like they were all right, but then all of a sudden they started kind of like, you know, bleeding, and all this weird stuff happened. They kind of turned like zombie-like, and you see that's what's happened. And then this group that's coming there to kind of, I think they're coming there to like to work security and kind of protect this base. Right when they get there, though, they notice that like people are not around and something has happened. So it's kind of like, it also has like an Aliens kind of vibe of them going onto the ship, and then you know this base. And then they get there and start to realize that there's these zombie-like creatures on there. It's essentially about them trying to, exactly figure out what's happened here and figure out exactly how to stop this and, you know, survive and, you know, get off of this this base that they're on. I thought it was actually kind of interesting. If you guys like, you know, Resident Evil kind of vibe films, like I said, this is what this kind of has on this one. The next one here is from Universal as well, and this is Inside Man Most Wanted. And this is basically, though, about a group of these people. At the very beginning of this movie, you see that they were it was set like in the war in the 40s, and this Nazi gold, which was like kind of discovered, and you see like, then you don't see anything with it again, and then it cuts to years later, you know, current time, about a group of these people going into the Federal Reserve and, you know, kind of planning out this heist, and you see them kind of coming in there, and it's a group of people, and they're all kind of like planning their own way of getting in. Like the one girl goes in, and then like somebody else is dressed as like exterminators, and it's kind of their whole way of getting into this building. And essentially, though, they're in there to try and get this old gold, and that's essentially what it is. And they're in there holding people hostage and everything. And the one character, he is the like the hostage negotiator with the police, and he ends up I think he was actually the FBI or the police.
I can't remember. I know it was like the SWAT was also in here as well, but essentially though, he's like a really well, successful negotiator that kind of is able to really do well with this, and he's kind of dealing with negotiating with them and trying to see if they can come to a resolution, and they're all in there trying to figure out how they're going to get this gold out, and they're also like, people are all in there too saying, well, there's no way you're going to get out of the Federal Reserve with the money, and like the people on the outside don't know that they're actually there for this gold. They think they're trying to get other kind of money and stuff in there. But if you guys like bank heist, kind of like those kind of movies, I thought this one was definitely worth checking out here. The next one here is from Warner Brothers. They sent over a free copy of this one to let you guys know this one was available. And this one here is Annabelle Comes Home, which is the newest Annabelle film. This is probably, out of the Annabelle movies, I think personally this might be my favorite one, because it kind of has more of because this was in the Conjuring universe. This one kind of feels to me more like a Conjuring film. And I also like too, because it's like all these kind of elements that are coming after them at the same time, because it's basically though about the characters of the Warrens who would go around and kind of deal with evil spirits and stuff from the Conjuring films, and they would deal with people that were possessed and possessed objects and that kind of stuff, and then the Annabelle doll, which was possessed, and they in their house though they had all the like a whole room of possessed objects. They had the Annabelle doll in there. They had anything that was possessed. That's the thing about the Annabelle series is, and especially the Conjuring series, they can do so many different kind of spin-offs because they have all these different objects, and I almost feel like it could one day turn into a television series, because they could go through each individual object, and there could be like a series, one episode about what these objects are, because if you go, you see the room, there's all these different things in there. But essentially though, it's about they're going out of town, and their daughter's there, and they have a babysitter come over to watch her while they're gone. And when they're there though, the one babysitter has her friends comes over, and she kind of has heard about them and knows they have these possessed objects, and she has her own reasons for wanting to try and look through them. But she goes in there and kind of touches everything and moves everything. And the one thing, the Annabelle doll is locked away that says, no matter what, do not open this case, do not touch this. And of course she ends up opening it, and the Annabelle doll gets loose, and basically because of that, it causes everything to kind of become possessed and like messed up, and it's kind of about them all in the house trying to figure out exactly what to do and kind of how to stop all this from going on. It's actually very creepy. Like I said, they had so many different objects to kind of use in here, and they throw back to some of the other films as well, but I would highly recommend you guys check this one out. All around though, I thought this one was really good. On here though, it has deleted scenes and a bunch of different featurettes on here about the making of the movie, but like I said, really like this one a lot. And next one I got here is from Warner Brothers as well. They sent over a free copy of this one to let you guys know that this is available. And this is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining here on 4K Ultra HD. This is one of those movies throughout the years, though, I have watched this movie so many times. This is such a creepy, super effective movie. It's, honestly, one of the top horror movies of all time. Like in the top 10 best movies, and especially it's so effective. Like everything in this movie works. I love the way it's shot such a wide kind of high, I like the fact that you like see the ceilings and everything, the way Stanley Kubrick filmed this. I just like the look of this movie all around. And it's basically, though, about, Jack Nicholson's character who goes to, takes a job of the caretaker at this hotel, this huge hotel out in the middle of nowhere in the area where it's like, only can be accessed by the mountains. And when it snows, the whole place is cut off and no one can get in, nobody can get out. And so he goes there with his wife, and played by Shelley Duvall, and his son. And his son has these kind of weird abilities, too, like these kind of psychic kind of abilities and everything. But of course, though, he goes to there with them, and, you've come to find out, though, that some bad stuff had happened in one of the rooms of the hotel, and little by little, Jack Nicholson's character there is trying to write this book, and he starts kind of cracking up more and more as this movie goes along, and it's just kind of about him going, insane, and Jack Nicholson does an amazing job. And like I said, everything about this movie is so effective, it is so creepy. On here, though, it has the original features on here, it has the commentary track on here with the Steadicam operator, as well as a film historian John Baxter on this one. That one's on the 4K and the Blu-ray, and then
on the Blu-ray it has the documentary on here on the film, as well as on here the Visions of Stanley Kubrick with Wendy Carlos, who's the composer of the music, the movie's music. Her music in here is amazing. It's probably some of the coolest horror, and it's all these kind of weird instruments that she was using, like these things where that long thing where you move it around, it makes these weird type of sounds and everything. But 4K wise though, if you guys have 4K capacities, it's they did an amazing job cleaning up this movie. It looks great on 4K. It is such a especially like the stuff in the snow, the snow stuff looks so cool on 4K, because the big thing with 4K, I said in the past, is the HDR, which is the contrast levels. It has much deeper darks to the colors. It also has a much brighter picture all around. But one of these ones, like I said, if you guys have 4K, definitely worth the upgrade. And the next one I got here is from Warner Brothers as well. They sent over a free copy of this as well to let you guys know this is available. And this is Guillermo del Toro's film Pan's Labyrinth here on 4K. This is another one of those movies that is an absolute must-see. If you guys have not seen this movie, it is an absolute must-watch. And it's also a very sad movie, but all around too. But it's just a really amazing visuals in this movie and the whole look of this film. And it's Guillermo del Toro, has recently directed The Shape of Water. He also produces a lot of things as well. He's producing, the remake to The Witches, which I'm really interested in seeing that. I absolutely love the original, Witches film. So I'm really interested in seeing what direction they go with the new one and if it has the same kind of vibe and everything. But, when it comes to this film, though, it's essentially, though, set during the time of war. And it's this girl who moves in with her stepfather. And his stepfather's this really terrible guy. And it's I said, it all has all this war aspects to it, and she kind of is sees this creature at night, and she kind of gets drawn into these this underground kind of labyrinth area that she goes through, and you see it's kind of by the fawn creature, and it's just kind of this amazing visual and very creepy atmospheric movie. Like I said, it's very hard to explain, but it's one of those movies that is just an absolute must watch. 4K wise though, this movie looks amazing. Like I said, it is a super visual, stylized movie. I think it's probably my favorite Guillermo del Toro movie. I absolutely love this one. Like I said, just the whole story to this one is so well done. On the 4K disc, though, it has the commentary track with the director, and then the Blu-ray is the original Blu-ray, which has all the original features from the past past release of this one. But like I said, one of the guys know this is available on 4K. This one here is from Warner Brothers as well. They sent out a free copy just to let you guys know this one was available. This is Scooby-Doo Return to Zombie Island. This is actually the follow-up movie to Zombie Island, which I think was in the 90s, the mid to late 90s, I think, or maybe the early 90s. I can't remember when the original Zombie Island film came out, but this is basically, though, about Scooby-Doo and the gang, and now they kind of don't have anything, any mysteries coming in. They're kind of going to take a break. They're going to have a vacation, so they end up going to this island. And Shaggy's immediately noticing I feel like we've been here before, this island that they go to, and they're I think that we've been to this before. And of course they get to this island and come to find out though that they had been there before, and and they start discovering that there's zombies on this island. And it's essentially about them trying to they really want to be there just on their break, especially Shaggy and Scooby just kind of want to have their break and kind of be away from hunting ghosts and solving mysteries and all that kind of stuff, but they they can't do that because there's these zombies there, and it's kind of about them, because in the the original Zombie Island movie, that was kind of one of their unsolved mysteries. They kind of never really found a real resolution, as far as I remember, to that. So it's kind of now it's their chance to finally kind of try and solve this mystery of the island and everything. If you guys are a fan of Scooby-Doo, though, it's a very fun movie here. It also has on here some bonus episodes. It has the new Scooby-Doo mysteries. It has 2 episodes of those. Those ones, I'm not sure when those ones were originally from. Maybe the mid-70s? I don't really remember those ones, the new Scooby-Doo mystery series. Then it also has What's New Scooby-Doo episode on here as well, which I think that one, I was looking at that one, and that one was from, I think, 2003 or 2004. But like I said, though, one of the guys know that this one was available. And the next one I got here is from Warner Bros. As well. They sent out a free copy of this one as well to let you guys know that this one is available. And this is the DC Universe film, The Death and Return of Superman, the complete film collection here in this limited edition gift set. So also includes a Superman figure in here. This set is also numbered limited edition, and this is the numbered edition. This one is 26,196 of 52,000 copies. So that's really cool that all the editions of this limited edition set are numbered as well on the bottom. But what this movie is here, though, is combining two movies together. It's combining the film The Death of Superman and then Reign of Superman, which was the follow-up film, together and editing them together into one film. And the thing that's cool about this set as well, though, is it includes a bonus 4K film, a movie that has never been released on 4K, and that's Superman Doomsday. So that one has only ever been released on Blu-ray and DVD, but never has had a 4K release. So that's really cool. That's exclusive to this one. But this is basically, though, about Superman, battling against this alien, named Doomsday, who's this like ultimate, villain that's kind of like the one of the worst kind of villains that he's ever dealt with. And it's kind of, what ends up happening to him. And when, without ruining anything, though, though, that something is going to happen to him bad. And then other people kind of come in afterwards and kind of like these other Superman kind of people that are posing as Superman coming in. And that's kind of what this is. It's actually a really cool movie. I really thought this was a fun film. And it's cool how they edited them together into, one film like this. But on here, though, it has a bunch of different it has a new documentary on here, Long Live Superman. It has some new featurettes. It also has 6 bonus cartoons from the vault, and it has like some of them are Justice League ones. One of them is a Superman one. So that was really cool that those were included in here. Like I said, it's 6 cartoons. And here's a look, though, inside at the disc itself. And it has a slipcover as well for those wondering. And the like I said, the Doomsday one, though, that one is only on a 4K disc. So the Superman Blu-ray, The Death and Return of Superman, that one has the movie and the features, and then the 4K for The Death and Return of Superman only has the movie itself, and then Superman Doomsday, like I said, is only on the 4K disc. But like I said, one of you guys know that this one was available from Warner Brothers. The next one here, this is one I was so excited about. This is the brand new 2-movie collection here from Paramount of Addams Family and Addams Family Values here on Blu-ray. Now, Addams Family has been released on Blu-ray before, but Addams Family Values has never had a Blu-ray release, so was so happy this one finally got a Blu-ray release. And I feel like when it comes to these movies, the second movie is just as good, because when it comes to some sequels, the sequel is kind of like just okay, or has this sort of real sequel kind of quality to it. With this movie, though, I don't feel like that at all. Like, I feel like both of these ones are equally as cool films and equally as well done. And it's the first movie, though, is basically, though, about Uncle Fester comes back to the house. Well, it's like it's the one guy who does like the finances for the Addams finds this guy that looks like Uncle Fester, and he kind of comes to pose as Uncle Fester so that they can kind of get into the house and get access to the vault. And then the sequel is Uncle Fester, without spoiling anything, is still there. So, but basically, though, this one is Uncle Fester is really desperate to try and find a wife, and the one woman who comes there to be the babysitter, played by, Joan Cusack, she kind of comes and she has her motives for coming there, and she comes to and kind of ends up getting engaged to Uncle Fester, and she ends up sending the kids off to Camp Chippewa, and it's like Wednesday and Pugsley and everything having a horrific time at camp. So it's a whole lot of the movie is in camp with them, and Uncle Fester with Betty, Joan Cusack's character, or no, Debbie. I don't know. It's just amazing movies. Both these ones are great. If you guys have never seen these ones, absolute must watch films. The next one here is from Paramount as well, and this is also a CBS title. CBS Paramount title, and I believe this airs on the CBS All Access, I believe, which is like their streaming service. I believe that's where this is originally was seen. And this is Tell Me a Story, season 1 here, and this is from the writer and producer of this one, or he wrote some of the episodes, is Kevin Williamson, who was the writer of Scream, and he was also behind the Vampire Diaries, lots of different stuff. And this is a interesting series here and it kind of has aspects here with the Three Little Pigs, Little Red Riding Hood, and Hansel and Gretel. And it's basically, though, it's like a trying to think about how to explain this one. It was like a one character who moved, she moved with her father to New York City to kind of get away and have start a new life. And the father is kind of hoping that his mother will kind of help get the daughter kind of on track a little bit, because she's kind of doing kind of crazy things and everything that she was doing in LA. And then it deals with the whole thing too. I don't really spoil anything though, because it also deals with like I'm trying not to mix this up with a movie that I just watched. And it has like the one character though, somebody ended up dying, in that, and then like they ended up dying in this hotel or their apartment, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to hide out from that. Also deals with a character who was getting engaged to his wife, and she ends up having something happen to her when they're in this jewelry store. So it's one of those things where it's like intertwining kind of stories where it goes between the different characters back and forth and everything, and that it's all kind of going to build up to something. And it has like the characters that rob the jewelry store were dressed like the pigs, so they're like the little the three little pigs kind of aspect. Like I said, it's one of those ones I just started watching this one, so I'm definitely interested in seeing where this one goes and everything, but definitely seems pretty interesting though. The next ones here are both from Movie Zing, and these are I'll have a link below for them. These are also Universal releases, and this is the Steve Martin film here, which I had not seen this movie in years. It stars Steve Martin as well as Phil Hartman, and it's Sergeant Bilko. And this one also the main actor, Dan Aykroyd's in this movie, but the one actor who played Murph in Prom Child 2, he's in this movie as well. And this is it's basically though about Steve Martin's character, who's kind of like the head of this troop, the army troop, and he's kind of like the whole troop and the whole group of them don't really take things seriously, and they're kind of messing around, and like they don't really do anything. They kind of just goof around and gamble and drink. And Pamela Adlon is also in this movie, who I always think of. She's from the show Better Things, but she's in lots of different movies, but I always think of her as the voice of Bobby Hill. Like forever I'll think of her as the voice of Bobby Hill and the video game Pajama Sam. But basically though, it's kind of about them just kind of messing around, and Dan Aykroyd's character, who's like works there at the army as well, and he kind of notices all this, kind of comes to check on things, and they kind of put on a show for him to act like they're doing a good job. But basically though, Phil Hartman's character comes, and he's kind of the inspector, and he because of something that happened with him and Steve Martin's character years back, Phil Hartman has never liked him, so he kind of comes there, and they realize that when he's like expecting that they're going to have to figure out how to shape up, or things are going to, the whole, base may be shut down. So it's just kind of this, comedic movie about all sorts of problems, but it's a really, really fun movie here. The next one here, this is one I had not seen since this one came to theaters. And this is excellent. This is an absolutely excellent movie, which I totally forgot about too. And this is called, this is like I said, from Movie Zing as well. And this is called American Dreams, which stars Hugh Grant, Dennis Quaid, Willem Dafoe, Mandy Moore. And this is basically, though, about Hugh Grant's character, and it's another ensemble piece, character piece, but it's his character. It's kind of like, a Simon Cowell kind of guy who has a really popular, music competition show where people come in there and try out, and they kind of broadcast it around the world, and it's one of the top, pretty much the top show in the world. And it kind of is all about the different characters, like Mandy Moore's character, who's this girl in this small town, and Chris Klein plays her boyfriend, and it's basically, though, they end up, she ends up getting on the show, and it's kind of her trying to figure out how she could win this. It's also this one guy who came from the Middle East to stay with his cousin, because he's actually planning something really bad, because he's with this terrorist group, and like he's there kind of hiding out, but he ends up on the show because his cousin, who knows nothing about what the stuff that is his planning or anything like that he's with this sleeper cell group from the Middle East or any of that, he doesn't have a clue. But his cousin, though, who lives in America, really wants to sing, so they come over there to tell him he's going to be on the show, and he's out with his sister, and the other cousin, who actually actually dreams of singing as well. He's down there in the basement singing, and they end up confusing him. So then it becomes a whole big thing with that, and they're actually playing on him doing a bad thing at the event. It's kind of like they all kind of, you know, connects together and everything, but it is a really fun, like, satire film. The director of this one was behind, you know, American Pie, and, you know, wrote like About a Boy, I believe, and a bunch of different stuff. But I really like this one. This is one, if you guys want to watch just a really fun, you know, satire comedy, you know, and like a lot of character actors pop up in here as well. Like even Seth Meyers was in here acting. And the next one I got here is from MovieZing.com as well, and this is also a Cinedigm release. And this is the movie that Jason Mewes directed, and this is Madness in the Method. And this is basically that Jason Mewes is playing a version of himself, and it's all kind of dealing with how he ended up getting, you know, into acting from, you know, being in Clerks with Kevin Smith. And it's kind of his character, though, is playing himself as an actor, and he's trying to get other work, and he's going for auditions, and they only want him to play similar characters that are like, you know, like Jay, you know, in the Jay and Silent Bob films and everything. And he really wants to do serious kind of parts, and he's not really having any luck. And he's talking to Kevin Smith about it, and to Vinnie Jones, who's his friend, plays his friend in the movie, and he's trying to figure out what he can do to try and, you know, get taken seriously, and what he can do. And one of the people tells him, I think it's Kevin Smith, tells him about this one actor who is really about, you know, being a method actor, and he has this book that he wrote, and he kind of talks to him and gets this book from him. And when he gets this book, though, everything kind of goes wrong, and Jason Mewes' character ends up hitting this guy with his car. Then when he's trying to, like, tell him that, you know, you should really hire me for like a role, not like a screw-up kind of character in this movie, and he ends up getting killed. And then the people are kind of coming after him, and they think it was Vinnie Jones because it was Vinnie Jones's car. So it becomes this whole thing about the police kind of coming after Jason Mewes and wondering if he's involved. And then, like, Jason Mewes is like trying at the same time to read this book and going through it and trying to see if he can kind of, you know, get into, you know, have his like rating online, like his IMDb kind of rating go up, and, you know, because of all the interest, because the news is talking about him. That's kind of what it is. It's just like him trying to, you know, get, you know, taken seriously, and then having all these sort of problems, and wanting to get into Brian O'Halloran's characters directing this movie, and he wants to try and get into his movie as the lead. It's kind of like all these problems that he goes in, and there's all kinds of cameos in here. Like Kevin Smith's in the movie. He's playing a pretty decent role, size role. You know, Dean Cain's in this movie. Stan Lee is in the film. So lots and lots of cameos, but a really fun, like, kind of parody on Jason Mewes as himself, like I said, playing kind of a parody version of himself, trying to, you know, get taken seriously. The next one here is from Sony Pictures Classics. It's a movie here called Maiden, and this is a really, really well done documentary here. And this is, you know, it takes, you know, the documentary about the white bread round the world race, which was from 1989. And this is basically, though, about, you know, because at this time, too, like, there was, like, a huge racing competition. It was a huge one that was, like, going around the world, this enormous, long race. I can't remember how many days it went for, but it went for, like, months, like a huge, huge distance. And it's basically, though, about, you know, this woman who wants to be part of one of the groups, and she has no luck because they're giving her problems because she's a woman. They're saying, oh, you can't be on the boat. And so she decides to end up forming her own group to go and sail a boat on this journey. And she ends up, you know, getting all women to be on the crew. And this is a documentary all about that. And what's cool about this is they have all this footage from then, from the boat and from the journey and from what they were doing and everything. Because sometimes if there's a documentary, there's not like there's more like just like pictures and stuff like that to have, you know, to reference and everything. The thing that's so cool about this is they have so much video and so much footage of all the stuff that was happening. And it's just one of those really positive, you know, feel good documentaries, and just showing, you know, just what can be done, and like how, you know, this whole group went through. It's, like I said, really, really well done documentary. Has on here, though, a Q&A with the director, as well as skipper Tracy Edwards on this one as well. And just want to let you know, right after I did my review of Maiden, I ended up getting a Blu-ray copy of it to review. So I want to make sure to let you guys know that Maiden is also available on Blu-ray as well as DVD. So there is a Blu-ray edition as well of the film available. And the next one here is from Cinedigm. It's a movie here called Awake. And this one stars Jonathan Rhys Meyers, Francesca Eastwood, William Forsythe. This is about Jonathan Rhys Meyers' character. At the beginning of this movie, you see him getting chased by the cops. He gets in this accident, like drives off the road, and ends up like bumping his head and, you know, forgetting who he is. And, you know, wakes up, you know, in the hospital. Francesca Eastwood's character is her, you know, the nurse. and it's kind of he wakes up and he doesn't remember anything, like has total amnesia to everything. But then the cops show up and are saying to him that we believe that you were the person who was this murderer we've been trying to find, who has killed all these women, and there was like these clues and everything, and they really believe that he is the one behind this. And his character is saying, I don't remember anything, I don't remember doing anything like this, how could I have done that? And Francesca Eastwood's character too, she's kind of the nurse, and she's, from being there with him, thinks he's a nice guy and doesn't see how he could have done this. And he ends up, when the police are around, ends up escaping and takes her hostage. But she doesn't really want to be the hostage because she wants to help him, because she's kind of thinking that I don't think you did this. So it's essentially about them trying to kind of solve and look through the clues and try and actually figure out, who was this murderer, who really killed these girls, and if, he did this, if he was actually the one that did it. And she's kind of trying to help him figure this out. And it's a really interesting movie. And William Forsythe's character is this the town sheriff, and he's kind of around trying to find him as well, and they're all kind of looking for him. So it's the aspect too of them trying to hide out and figure out where to go and everything. The next one here is a movie here called Karma, which I just finished watching this one. This is from Cinedigm as well. And this movie I really thought was a cool concept. And this is basically, though, this is also from the director who made Truth or Dare. Not the one from Blumhouse, but the one from around the same time, which I really liked. I think it was a sci-fi original movie. And this one stars, Mandela Van Peebles, who is Mario Van Peebles' son. And he did a really good job in this movie. But it's basically, though, about his character lives in his he lives with his wife, but they live in her parents' basement because they're having financial problems and everything. And her father is got him a job working his real estate kind of business, where they kind of go in, and when people can't pay, they kind of come there and like the people there say, you have to get out of the house now, the house has been bought, you didn't pay, that we've now owned your house, and that kind of stuff. So they kind of go in and take people's houses. And his character, though, is just started kind of working there, and his father-in-law is like sending him to go to these people's houses and tell them, sorry, you have to get out now, and all that kind of stuff. But one of the houses that he goes to is like someone that he was friends with and stuff, and he knew from high school. And he says, oh, can you let me stay a little longer? I can't go right now. And he's like, and he has to kind of prove to his father-in-law that he can, do this job. And he says, no, you got to get out. And the guy's like, well, you're going to be sorry. You kicked me out. My mother there, she's going to die, and you're going to be sorry. You do this, you're going to be sorry. And of course he does this. And because of this, you find out throughout this movie why it was a bad thing. And little by little, bad stuff starts happening to him. Like he starts now having all this horrible luck. Like he gets into this accident. He starts like, basically little by little, it just starts building up to horrific bad things starts happening to him. And it's kind of him trying to figure out how to stop this and what to do, and find the guy that, he was friends with, that he didn't give him the extra day, trying to figure out what to do. But I actually thought this was actually a really pretty effective movie here. Wow. The next one here is from Well Go USA. It's a movie here called The Lingering. This is a really creepy, slow burn film, and it's kind of about, it's hard to explain because it kind of goes through different periods of time. Like it starts off like, then starts like with the one character years and years later. It's essentially though about when the one character was a kid, something, he was kind of waiting for his father to come back, and the wife was, his mother was waiting for the husband to come back, and they were waiting for him to come back. And, it's kind of what happens there. And, the kid, though, is seeing sort of weird things in this house, starting to see things. And then it's kind of years later, for one reason or another, the kid is now back at this house. And it's, when he's back there now, again, it's like about him starting to see weird things again at this place. That's essentially what it is, but it deals with all kind of stuff like the bad things that had happened at this house. And it's also like a dramatic stuff as well, because like stuff that happened with his family and his mother. Like I said, it's very hard to explain, but it's just kind of about like this presence and stuff that is now kind of was gone for a while and now is back again, and back with a vengeance when he gets back to the house location. Like I said, this one is called The Lingering from Welgo, USA. The next ones here are all from Vinegar Syndrome. And there's some really cool titles here. And the first one here is a movie called Pledge Night, which is one I always had seen the cover to this one, but had never seen this movie before. All these ones as well, they have limited edition versions which have, you know, the slip covers to them. So you guys can get those ones on their website. They have the regular edition ones as well as the limited edition slipcover editions. They're also releasing a set next month, which I can't wait for, which has like an Amityville horror collection, and it has a bunch of different films, but the one it has, which I can't wait for on Blu-ray, is Amityville Dollhouse, which is one I always loved that movie. But this one here is basically, though, about this fraternity house, and it's kind of it's like a comedy kind of horror movie, and it's all about like the kind of the pledging and the hazing kind of rituals that are going on. It's about a group of the people who are being like pledged, you know, and hazed to go in there, and it's kind of like you know, it's like the Hell Week and stuff, and it's basically like all sorts of like these horrific, terrible, like, you know, things that they force them to go through and force them to do. But and they're doing stuff too where they're kind of tricking them to make it look like one of them got hurt or one person got killed. But then it kind of like slowly builds up to get worse and worse for what happens without spoiling anything. On here though, it has a brand new 2K restoration here from the original 35mm negative on here. Great transfer on these. Like, that's one thing with Vinegar Syndrome. They always do an amazing job on their transfers, cleaning up the films. It has on here though a video interview with the director on here, interview on here with the producer, interview with one of the actor on here, locations featurettes, which is an interesting too, because it was talking about how this, like, where this was shot, how they actually had some real hazing stuff throughout the years that happened there. This one here is one I had not seen this one for years, and James Hong directed this movie and stars in this film called The Vineyard. This is a really weird, out there, strange movie about his character, and he kind of has this wine, you know, vineyard where you know, he has kind of discovered the way to stay young, and it's like this concoction with you know, blood and all this kind of stuff, and he's kind of ends up also wants to make movies and does these movies, and he kind of has a group of these people come to his island where he lives, and ends up like basically though planning on, you know, using them for his, like, you know, like his wine to stay young and everything, and he ends up liking one of the girls that's there, and he kind of thinks that's going to be like his true secret, you know, fountain of the youth one, and it's basically him becoming obsessed with her, and it's kind of about like these strange things that happen to people that are there. It's a really, really wacky, crazy movie. On here though, it has a brand new you know, newly scanned and restored in 4K from the original 35mm camera negative. Has an interview on here with the you know, director and actor James Hong, as well as an interview on here with the co-director. It also has on here an interview with this cinematographer, theatrical trailer, but a really, really fun movie. This one here is called Beyond the Devil, and this one here is basically, though, it's about like this this couple that ends up moving into this house because they're doing like what was it, where they're doing like they're kind of planning to build this condominium, but they moved to this house. It was one of those kind of houses where bad things had happened there in the past, and you kind of know it's not a good thing them going there. And essentially though, they get there, and then there's like a, you know, something that kind of haunts the house, and it's kind of trying to possess his wife, you know, and it stars, you know, John Saxon is the star of this, and it's essentially though something has taken over his wife, starts taking over his wife. It's just a crazy kind of possession kind of vibe movie. This one is scanned and restored in 2K from the original 35mm camera, you know, negative vault elements. Has on here a brand new interview with the director on this one, brand new interview with the producer, original theatrical trailer. Like I said, another really fun movie. And the next one I got here is from Vinegar Syndrome as well. It's a movie here called Secta Sinistera. I believe that's how you say it. It's basically though about this this husband who's cheating on his wife, and the wife kind of walks in on him cheating on her, and you know, she goes nuts and ends up blinding the husband with these things in his eyes, and it's then she ends up going to the nut house for this, and then the husband and his girlfriend, they still stay together after this, and they want to have a child, and they're having a terrible luck in conceiving, and they end up going to a fertility doctor, and it's essentially though, it got like a Rosemary's Baby kind of vibe.
because they end up going to the fertility doctor, and it's like that there's like some satanic kind of stuff going on, and it's basically, though, she ends up getting, you know, pregnant, like with like the devil kind of child. Essentially, that's what's going on. And it's kind of like this crazy kind of situations that are going on because of that. Like I said, it has a very Rosemary's Baby kind of vibe. This one has a brand new 2K scan from the original camera negative on this one, the original 35mm camera negative. It also has commentary track on here with film historian Kat Ellinger on this one. The next ones here are both from Severin Films. It's a movie here called Killer Crocodile, which is a really fun movie. It's basically about a group of these people going out to, I don't know what area they were going to, but they were going to kind of protect, like there was terrible pollutions that were going on. They were kind of going out there to kind of stop this and kind of look into this. And when they go out there, though, they come to discover there that this huge crocodile that's out there and kind of like wrecking havoc in the village. And it's this crazy, like, you know, this alligator that they built is this huge, or it's a crocodile, this huge crocodile that they built. And it's got like, if you guys like stuff like, you know, which came years later, but like stuff like Lake Placid, this is kind of like, you know, the original like Lake Placid kind of movie, because it was like from 1989, and it's just an absolutely crazy movie. There was another alligator movie called, I think, like The Great Alligator River, which was kind of cool as well. You know, Seven Films also has an edition of this, which is a limited edition one, which includes part 2 of the film as well. This, you know, the sequel to the film, which I believe was shot like at the same exact time, I'm pretty sure. This one has on here, though, feature-wise, it has Into the Jaws, an interview with the makeup artist on this one. It has an interview on here with one of the actors, or two different actors on this one. Also has an interview on here with the cinematographer and the theatrical trailer on this one. And the next one here is from Severin Films as well. It's a movie here, Dario Argento presents The Wax Mask. This is a movie, though, I always really like this movie. I love movies, though, that are set in wax museums. I feel like the Wax Museum is like a great setting for horror movies, and I even like movies when they just have scenes in wax museums, like Kid and Play Class Act has scenes in a wax museum. Monsters Revenge, you know, that one has scenes, you know, in the wax museum. I don't know, I feel like that's a cool setting for movies, especially horror movies. This one is kind of has like a very similar vibe to the House of Wax, Vincent Price's House of Wax. With that one, though, you know his character is going around doing the killing, you know who it is and all that, you know, and this one's all set in a wax museum, but the character who is killing people is, you know, wearing a wax mask and has this like metal arm. So it's like, it's one of those things, there's all these weird characters all around the neighborhood and everything, and it's kind of always hinting at, could it be this person, could it be that person? They do a really good job with kind of hinting at who is behind these killings. On here, though, has tons and tons of interviews on here with the producer, Dario Argento, with the director, a commentary track on here with the director, interviews on here with the special effects artist, interview on here with the composer. So lots and lots of features, some vintage features as well, but like you know, tons and tons of features here on this release. The next one here is from the American Genre Film Archive and MVD. It's a movie here starring John Hawkes. And I believe this is like one of his first movies called, or one of his early movies here called Scary Movie. And also Butch Patrick's in this movie as well, which I thought was pretty cool. And because I was thinking, like, the one character, this kid had a Wolf doll, you know, the doll from the Munsters. And I'm like, that looks like the real doll. And I think it was Butch Patrick's, you know, I'm guessing it might have been his real doll, or maybe you could actually buy that doll at some point that looked that realistic to the one in the show. I don't know. But this is basically, though, essentially this whole movie, what this is John Hawkes' character, and it's kind of like me when I first went to a haunted house. You know, I was like one of those haunted house walkthroughs, like they really creeped me out, and his character is going there with his friends, and he's like petrified, and he's like shaking, oh, I'm so scared. He's like paranoid about this. In the beginning of this movie, though, you see this serial killer breaks out of the cop, you know, ends up getting away, from police custody. So you're kind of going, is this character going to come to this haunted house? And it's just John Hawkes' character just kind of panicking. And it's kind of all about the people that are going through the house, all the kind of stuff. It's just this slow build up to him panicking. And then the movie kind of goes and gets crazier and crazier as it goes along. But you can see Butch Patrick here on the back. But this is, I think this is funny too, is this is like,
Butch Patrick hadn't acted since I think at this point from till 1978 was like the last things he did, and then he came back to do this in 1991. But it has on here a brand new 2K transfer on here from the original 60mm negative, a commentary track on here with the director. Also has some short films on here, but transfer-wise, they did an amazing job cleaning up this movie. This one here is from Wild Eye releasing. This one gets a top recommendation. I do want to see too sometime the original version with the original dub, because this one is a dubbed version of the movie. So I do want to try and see the original one too, to hear the original voices and everything. But this one here is called Clown of the Dead. I don't know the original title though. I think it was like, can't remember what it was. I was looking up online because I was so interested in this movie because it was such a cool film. This was shot in Indonesia, and it's about these kind of like this kind of apartment complex where right in the backyard of it though, there's like this traveling circus that is there. It's like a night carnival, like a night fair that goes at night, and the one kid goes out there and ends up finding this old music box that has this dancing clown inside of it. He ends up stealing it and taking it back to his apartment and opening it up, and when he opens this up, it ends up like, not good, because then this evil clown is showing up, and the clown in this movie is so creepy. But it's basically this clown, and it's kind of haunting the apartment complex, and like the kids there are getting killed in these ways that look like they might have killed themselves. And it's kind of like because they see this clown, and it's just basically though about the people who are there trying to figure out how to stop this, and kind of looking into the whole thing and trying to research it. But it is so effective and creepy. Like I said, it is the dubbed version, and like I think some of it honestly was like adults, and they like mess with the voice to make it sound like a kid a little bit, like they put it through like a vocalizer thing, something like that. I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I do kind of want to see the original dialogue version of this one that wasn't dubbed over, because it was one of those ones I don't feel like it would have been hard to follow. But honestly, though, like I said, I really thought this was a cool movie and extremely creepy. The next one here was from Wild Eye as well, and it's called One Night in October. And this is basically, though, it's all on Halloween night, and it's kind of about in this town, and it's one of those kind of interconnecting kind of movies where it's like I kind of forget. It was like sort of this girl going trick-or-treating, I think. I'm trying to remember exactly what happens, but I know this was kind of like it kind of goes to like bad kind of stuff happening though, because it's like it's kind of one of those things too. As I remember, it started out kind of normal, and then it was kind of like turning into like a sort of like a heist kind of aspect as well. Like I said, I remember so much about that one, but I can't remember everything that happens in this. But I just remember it kind of, as what I can remember though is things started kind of going hectic, and it all takes place in one night, and it interconnects to like a whole bunch of different stories together as far as I can remember with this one. But like I said, Clown of the Dead though, that one I really liked. This one here though is called Zomberella's House of Horrors, and this is the first one here, and this is from sovhorror.com, and I have a link below to their website. And this is fun. This is like an anthology kind of film, but it's like all hosted by this horror hostess, and it kind of cuts to like her going, oh, the feature presentation tonight will be this film, and between it has like trailers for these crazy parody kind of like films, and they're all shot on video style, so they all have a throwback kind of vibe, and the stuff too where you don't know exactly, like, because they did such a good job the way they shot these, you don't know if they were shot like now or shot like 25 years ago. And it kind of cuts to the trailers, and then like these infomercial kind of things, and then like the short films. And one of them was about this guy who meets this girl online, and she kind of is not exactly what she expects. He says, and that was my favorite one, because he's like, this guy, he's like playing real cool. He's like, oh, I'm the real cool guy, everybody likes me, all the ladies like me. And then he kind of is like in for a surprise with this girl that he meets online. I like this movie though. There was some really fun segments in here. They even had like Joe Winecoop movie that like they were playing like a trailer to in here, like I think like Creep 2, I think, something like that. I can't remember for sure what the movie was, but it has on here though a commentary track on here with the director as well as one of the actresses on here, deleted scenes, and like I said, and they were this shot on video horror though has been releasing lots of different stuff recently.
These last ones, though, I can't show any of the covers here. I just wanted you guys to know that these ones were available, but I definitely cannot show these covers. These are for adults only. Keep that in mind. But these are 42nd Street Forever, the Peep Show collection, and it's 3 new volumes with these. It's volume 32, 33, and 34, as well as the zoom up graduation photo. These are all from Impulse Pictures, which is a a subsidiary of Synapse Films. Like I said, these are all the Peep Show collection. I cannot show any of these ones, but these are all what they are is adult film loops, that are peculiar ones that are from the 70s and the 80s, and that's kind of what they are. That's pretty much all I can say. I can't get into the details of them, but like I said, just want you guys to know that those ones were available. But anyway, though, guys, thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later.